I got the message that I was supposed to go to Mount Shasta.
Happens to a lot of people, I hear, right?
Yeah.
Like the mountain like calls you.
How did the message come?
Yeah.
It came in my heart and with words. It was actually Saint Germain that asked me to go to Mount Shasta, and he said, "You're going to write a book." And I thought, okay, great. So I started to.
That was the message, that you're going to write a book.
Yeah,
And that's why you have
and
to
I was
go
like,
here.
oh, this is so important. But I'm like falling apart in grief.
Wow.
So I didn't know how I was going to manifest this because I had hardly any money. Like I was living off of like pretty much nothing and the generosity of others. And I went from a really high paying job to nothing, because that's what trauma and grief can do. It can completely wipe the slate clean. And this one person said, I'll help you and help you rent this place for like a month and a half. And I found this Tahoe style kind of huge like home, and I was like, that's the one. And he was like, great, enjoy. And I drove up to Mount Shasta in my beater of a car, and the first thing I did when I got there was I pulled out anything that I had that was still mine and sacred to my daily meditation practice. And this house was full of like new age stuff with different pictures of masters and angels, some of which I'd never really reconciled back with. And I built this huge altar across the living room, like literally it just went across the entire living room. Wow. And I was like, all right, it's begun. Now what? And I was given the instructions, like, you will do the same thing every day. Like a chop wood, carry water situation.
Right.
And it was snowing out. I mean, Shasta, when it snows, like I'm just me and my beater car in this big house by myself. Like, you got to build a fire to stay warm.
Yeah,
like,
wow.
I was like, that was the message that kept coming back. Just do the same thing every day.
What was that day? What did that day look like?
It was make the fire, shovel the snow, so you can get to the car if you need to get to the car, make breakfast. I think if I remember, yoga was a part of it in the morning, and then write, and then eat, and then maybe go for a walk or something, and then write, and then make dinner. And I was so healing still at that time. For whatever reason, God sent a friend to live up there at the same time. And she would come over and help me make meals because I was too afraid to touch a stove or to touch a knife, because that's how concerned I was that I would unintentionally harm myself because the trauma was so deep. Like I'd spend hours in the bathtub just sobbing, just like, it was indescribable, the pain that I was, that was releasing out of my body. But what I discovered was that the water of Mount Shasta was so perfectly intact that it felt like medicine all over my body. And I had never had an experience of water like that.
Really?
So I was sent to, a place to not only receive what was to come, but to also heal my body and my soul in the process. And so because they gave me the message to always do the same thing every day, it was this this perfect backdrop for the miracle that happened. Because if you're always doing the same thing, like a routine, if something remarkable is going to go down, you're really going to pay attention.
Totally.
For sure.
Yes.
Like,